Right then, new year, another new project. We're stacking them up, it seems, at the minute. We've got quite a few things on go. We'll do a video about that, or it might have already been on, I don't know. So, the new A5, another red A5, so nothing too different. So we bought this a couple of weeks ago, maybe, in between Christmas and New Year, can't remember. Didn't have these wheels on. These were the wheels that Scott bought when he thought he bought a Quattro, when he didn't, in that A4, but that's another story. So we got these wheels to go on that, but on the way home from buying this, one of the tyres went flat and it turned out that it were down to cord, so I've made a mental note of not sending Scott to buy cars ever again, because he bought a front wheel drive when it should have been a Quattro, and then he bought a car with tyres. He said he got 4 good tyres on, and I think 1 or 2 of them were down to cords inside, so he needs to start paying a bit more attention when he's going and looking around them. But it is what it is. So we put these on, 20 inch, what even are they? I can't remember what they're called. They're off the Q5, I think, something like that. No idea. We'll put it up on there anyway. Danny's wheelman, he doesn't even know, so they're not that important. But the 20s anyway, we've got some, what's it there? 255 30 20s, which is quite a small tyre. I don't know why Scott didn't go for 35s, but it is what it is. So pretty much this is, well, it should have been a standard car with a remap. We'll get on to what power figures it did and what it should have done in a second. But when I had a quick look, it's got our intercooler on. So it's not got our logo on, but that's one of our intercoolers anyway. I do believe it is. It looks very similar if not, so it might be a copy. But it's quite a big one, so that's all right. Engine-wise, should have been totally standard, but as soon as I got in it and started it, I thought I got a DPF delete, and it looks like it's been hollowed out. So that's another thing that the seller either didn't know or didn't want to disclose, should I say. It has got an exhaust on. I'm not sure what brand, an aftermarket one, but we'll get that ripped off, put one of ours on. Needs a front end paint as well. It's a bit stone chip. Whether we do that or not, I'm not too sure, because we'll get its own stone chips when we're done. Brakes, it's got some silly drilled and grooved brakes on, and they're absolutely rubbish. Worst brakes I've had on a car in a long time, and that's just driving normally, trying to pull up to a junction, you nearly go out of it. Interior wise, bit better spec than the last one we did. That's so annoying. Everything's on, lights are on, everything's on. But it's decent enough. What mileage have done? 113,000, so a bit more than the last one had done. We're going to leave this as it is. I don't think we're going to do anything too crazy on that. Scott usually wants to start swapping stuff and steering wheels and all this kind of, but I think we're going to leave it. Panoramic roof, which is nice. It's pretty much exterior wise. I think Scott wants to change the grille for something a bit. Oh, that's so annoying. Gotta shut that door. I think Scott wants to change it for a different grille, because it's an RS5 grille and it's not an RS5, so it's a bit. We don't want it to be looking like something it's not. So yeah, this has got the later engine, which I'll pop on it. See if we can see any of it. I don't think I've even looked at the bonnet properly myself. There, so you can see the difference in these turbos to the older ones. This is the GTB 2260 VZK, not the VK. The difference in them, obviously the oil is not fed in from the top like is on the older ones. There's a plate on the bottom, which will put a picture of what they look like, so we do like a conversion kit. It all bolts down, and the feed and the return are in one sort of block rather than just the return having a pipe. It's a bit easier to fit, to be honest. It'd be a lot quicker to swap a turbo on one of these than it is on the others, because the oil return's an absolute pig to work with. But these are not too bad. But the difference in these as well, which you can't see just looking at it, the up pipes are a different arrangement, so I'll put a picture of what they look like as well. But we have got a GTD 28 kit, turbo, that bolts straight onto here, so we'll put that on at some point. And we have got an inlet pipe that works with these. Obviously it's got the intercooler, Engine wise then, really it's just a case of seeing, because these injectors are very similar to the other ones in the older car, but we'll see where that runs out at. And we have got, the fuel pumps are different on these because they're at the back, I believe. Yeah, they are. Fuel pumps at the back. We've got a different fuel pump to try on this, and we're going to try a CP4 rather than a CP3. I think we'll probably end up doing a CP3 kit, but we'll see. I think, do we already do one for these? No, we don't do one. I want to keep the CP4 to start with, see where we run out, because then we know where that pump will run out as well for other people. The cams that we had to one side for the other engine that we never put in because we had the gearbox trouble, we've got those, and the gearbox in this, when we've come to read it today, that's saying it's a Gen 1, which it shouldn't be. The code, as far as we can tell, is a Gen 2, so I think it's just a software. Might be on an early software version or something like that, but we need to sort that out because it causes some pain. So that's the sort of rough idea what we've got going on. Well, if we get to where we want to get with the 2872 and everything seems to be playing ball, we will put the big silly turbo on there again and see what we can get. But that's not 100% set in stone just yet, but that is, we've still got it. That is the plan. It would be nice to tip past 550 horsepower in this and see what's what, but we'll see how we get on. Brake wise, I forgot to say, we're just going to put the S5 brakes on here because James, who won the other A5, he's happy with the brakes that are on there, so we'll just put the S5 that we had as spares for ours on this, because it's going to be more of a daily. It's not going to see the track, I wouldn't have thought, this car anyway. So yeah, that should be good. Might see the drag strip, but not the track. So, getting on to the power that this did, or should have done, this is where we are now. So, 242 is when we put it back to standard, totally standard, which is, I think these are a 245 standard, so that's about bang on. But when we bought the car, the guy said, oh, it's a 320 horsepower tune, blah de blah, which we take it with a pinch of salt. 320 on somebody else's dyno would be about 300 on this dyno. So when we've put it on, and literally we've only seen, what, 30 foot-pound of torque extra, and not even 30 horsepower, and it's only just at the top end here where it's gained the majority of its power and torque. These green lines, absolutely rubbish. So red standard, green's what it gained with that tune. So then we've gone through it all, and that were I won't say it were a decent tune, it were a very standard, generic, what you'd expect type of tune. So if we have a look quickly here, George's tractor's still there. So Mike's disappeared. He don't like being on camera. I think he might be an illegal immigrant, to be fair, because he never wants to be on camera. But if we look here, this is the boost request on the tune that were on this car. So it's very, very sort of generic, sort of they've added. You can do scripts that add this sort of thing in, just like looks at the highest point and sort of propagates out and adds a certain percentage and that tapers off to a certain amount. So you can see they've not added any more boost at low RPM and only added up to what, 7.9% in certain areas, which if you don't understand or know how much boost you can get away with on a car, that's what you do, which is fair enough if you're on the top horsepower model like this one is. But if you're on like an 100 horsepower car, that like in the Golf 2 litre they do 110 and 140, if you only add 8% to the 100 horsepower, you're probably not even going to be at the 140 horsepower. So generic tunes have got the place, not on one of our cars. So if you look at the boost requests we've added, so in certain areas we've only added 1% or 2%, but then in the lump here at the top end where you wanted to make the power, 24.2% extra, and at the low end where they've done nothing, we've added 6% there. So we don't add it in percent, this is just a relative term. We set that to what we know the maximum boost that we'd be happy with at sea level, and then obviously I let all the compensations work. But you can see, if you're looking in the graphs, it's made a massive difference. Just adding that extra bit at the bottom, which I'm not talking we've only added boost, but doing the tuning how we've done it, like I think they only added 30 bar, 40 bar of rail pressure. These can easily take another 150 bar of rail pressure, especially at the low end where you got the meat, like the meat of the torque. Like we've made 100 foot-pounds more than their tune just by adding a little bit of boost and a little bit of extra fuel, and it's not getting really much hotter. It is getting a little bit hotter, but then one of the other things, if you looked on the generic tune that were on there, all the temperature-based compensators, so coolant temp, oil temp, exhaust temp, all of them had been flatlined. So literally, there were no compensators. So you could take this on track and get it absolutely stinking mad out, and you'd still have 270 horsepower, which sounds amazing, until you're talking coolant temps 140 degrees, and that's when you want to leave something in there. Like we lift the temp limits up in a lot of cases, because this is designed to do 200,000 miles in mountains in China. It's not getting that same use over here. Sea level or low elevations and low temperatures and stuff like that. So you've got to know where you are when you're tuning things, but that's why we do a custom tune. We think, right, this is what the car's going to do, this is what we can get away with. We don't put that tune on every car we tune. We know that's the base that we start from, then we tweak it to suit. So massive gains can be made, and when you drove this, it just drove like absolute crap compared to what it's going to be driving like now. So I've not driven it on the road as it is, but we've tuned loads of these. I know how these drive and we tune them, and I'm sure I'll be happy. What we're going to do, we'll put it back to totally standard and do some launches, just a 0 to 60 or something like that, nothing too crazy. And then we'll put the tune file on there that we've refined on the dyno, hopefully tested on the road beforehand so we know it's perfect, which is what we do. We get a car in, we run it, if we're happy, dyno it, if we're happy, tune it, then we take it out on the road and refine it. The tiny little bits that you might not see on the dyno, you might not notice, we do them. So it's not just this is at a one step, boom, flash a tune on, send it on its way. They probably never even drove it. If you split into simple terms, we've got 4 steps to follow, and that's where all the dyno testing in between. Like this has probably had 20 odd dyno runs to get to where we are, flashing it back to, obviously run it as it is, flash it back to stock, run it. You only have to do 3 runs if everything went to plan, and we've done 20 odd. So we spend a lot of time trying to do things right, and that's the difference between a generic map and a custom map. And you can say that we're overcomplicating things, which for some cars we definitely are. Like some cars we spend all day tuning them, and the tune that it came in on, well, not as good as it's going to get, but it made the figures that the figures were as big as they could be. Whether the tune's better or not, obviously, is in the driving. A lot of that can't be seen on a dyno graph or from a video. You've got to drive it to feel it. So just like a car with rubbish brakes, if it's got rubbish brakes, you sometimes can't describe how they feel. On this, they'll just crap all the time, but sometimes they're good when they're hot, they're good when they're cold. Just same with a tune on a car, they're not all the same. So even if the numbers were the same, if somebody says, oh, I've got 310 out of mine, that might be a different dyno, it might be a different tune, it might not drive as well as this is. And I know, without a shadow of a doubt, we spend more time than anybody getting things perfect. Even though we know what we're doing, we spend a long time on them. It's not the same as somebody not knowing what they're doing and spending loads of time on them, or somebody claiming to know exactly how they do things and spending 10 minutes on them. You're not going to get the same results. It just doesn't happen. But anyway, I digress. So there's going to be loads of stuff we've missed out on this video, I'm pretty sure. The idea weren't to do what we did today, how we've done it, but we've ended up with a bit of a clear spotting diary, and it's gone to plan, which it doesn't always happen. And because now we've got our own 4-wheel drive dyno, the first video didn't need to be the same as it was on the earlier A5, because at that point we'd not even got a 4-wheel drive dyno, so we ended up borrowing John Sleeth. So it's worked out really nice, but we're going to have some real fun again with this. Not quite sure it's going to do as much Europe trips and stuff like that, because we're not wanting to use it on track. I don't really want to. It's just we've got enough track and race cars that we'll trail some over if we're doing any more trips again, I think. But yeah, this is probably the car we should have started out with for the last one. Maybe it'd have been a bit cheaper and a bit better overall. But we're going to turn this into something nice, power-wise. Hopefully something people to aspire to. And we're going to do, like suspension, we're going to do a bit of something with that, but not too crazy. Like I said, brakes not going to be too crazy. We're not going to do anything really to exterior other than maybe tidy it up a bit. Interior's going to stay as it is. Drivetrain, just the usual services. Then big turbo and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens. I don't know how long I've been going on for. Maybe this is a full video's worth. If it is, cheers for watching. Maybe we'll snip some bits out of this and put them into some separate little videos on it. I'm not sure. But give us a like and make sure you subscribe. Cheers.